Hey guys, what's up? It's been a while and May is almost over. This is Timzster. You having another video blog just to talk about anything under my head, what's happening in the pop culture spectrum, and as of this date of recording, we have passed the 1 month bar for Avengers Endgame, and it's raking in the billions in the worldwide box office. And you haven't seen it yet. I don't know why you haven't seen it yet. Yeah, this movie. Right here. We're in the end game now of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Well, technically Phase 3. And before we reach out to the next epilogue for MCU, which is Spider Man Far From Home, we take a moment to honor our fallen and those who pretty much finished their contracts in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That would be Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, Chris Evans as Captain America, who became Old Man Steve and passed on the shield to Sam Wilson, Falcon. And yeah, but if you haven't seen the movie and spoilers are around, I don't know why. You gotta see it in theaters. This 3 hour epic is 22 films in the making, and kudos to Marvel Studios for breaking all records and giving us another epic to remember. All right, so going into this new entry in my video series, as you can see, I'm wearing a Game of Thrones shirt, and that's another franchise that just wrapped up last Sunday. Winter is now done. Jon Snow and Tyrion Lannister, Daenerys Targaryen, Sansa, Arya, Bran, the rest of Westeros, and everybody else in the Game of Thrones cast have finished their stories. The producers of the show have moved on to greener pastures. Basically, the showrunners, David and Davey, they are moving on to Star Wars. That's the other news there. But now their watch has ended. Spoilers, of course. The new king is Bran Stark. Long live Bran the Broken. And Jon Snow has returned to the Night's Watch after killing Daenerys Targaryen. Yeah, to bring peace after Daenerys became the Mad Queen. So much stuff happening in that last episode. And her body was carried away by Drogon. So if you're a Game of Thrones fan, there are no more Game of Thrones episodes to look forward to. All we can look forward to is the spin-off that's coming from HBO sometime in the future. Now, it's a long wait. As for what else is coming up, well, there are a couple of other shows to look forward to. There's Watchmen, which is by all means a sequel. And on the movie side of things, if you've seen the new trailer for Terminator Dark Fate, yeah, Arnold is coming back, and so is Sarah Connor. That's Arnold Schwarzenegger and Linda Hamilton reprising their roles as the T-800 and an old Sarah Connor. And the story is them protecting a young girl who's being chased by, you guessed it, the Terminator. And this omits everything after Terminator 2 Judgment Day. So it's only the first two Terminator films that are canon, and James Cameron is producing, and he returns to the franchise, which is good. I'm looking forward to that this fall. What else? Sonic the Hedgehog received a lot of flack, and I don't blame them because our way past Cool Hedgehog looks very different and needs to get a makeover. So they've delayed the movie to 2020. And speaking of new movies, the director of Thor Ragnarok, Taiki Waititi, aka Korg, is going to direct the live action Akira movie, which is coming in 2021. Now, my thoughts on that, well, I hope it's like Alita, Battle Angel Alita, which was surprisingly good. But as we know with Hollywood, anime adaptations are a hit and miss. So we can't be truly sure if that's going to be good. Games wise, Resident Evil 0, 1, and Resident Evil 4 are now out for the Nintendo Switch. Yeah, I'm a Switch owner. I'm still thinking about getting that because right now I'm preoccupied with this game. Yep. Castlevania Anniversary Collection. Totally worth the $20. I've gotten it for Switch and I've gotten it for PS4. It's a retro throwback to 8-bit and 16-bit eras of Castlevania games. So you have the original Castlevania, you have Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest, you have Castlevania 3 Dracula's Curse, Super Castlevania 4 from the Super NES, and the Castlevania Adventure, then Castlevania Adventure 2, Castlevania Bloodlines from the Sega Genesis, and for the very first time in North America, Kid Dracula. I'd actually recommend it. I mean, side-scrolling, whipping, old school Castlevania gameplay. This is it. And highly recommended also for on-the-go players in the Switch. And next month, Koji Igarashi is going to release his long-awaited spiritual successor to Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. So get your practice here. Bloody Tears. And I'm still waiting for Netflix to tease us with Season 3 of Castlevania, their awesome anime series. So we're done with the games. Next up in the comics, some sad news. DC and writer Tom King have confirmed that King is stepping off Batman prematurely from his announced over 100-issue run. His last issue will be issue 85 after his City of Bane storyline. So he's going to end things with issue 85. But the good news is they've announced a 12-issue miniseries called Batman Catwoman rather, which will begin in January 2020, which will finish off King's epic where the on and off relationship between Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle. They didn't get married. Yes, a lot of people were disappointed. It was very mixed, but that's the writer's game. And to be honest, I'm a fan of Tom King on Batman. It's very streamlined. Reminds me so much of the Batman stories, a remix of it rather. Like Nightfall and Grant Morrison's run, those things that I grew up with in the 90s and early 2000s. It's good. I'd still recommend you to pick up the books. And if you're a fan of nothing too complicated and something that will tug Batman in the heart and test his mettle, because he's a broken guy, even if he's the world's greatest detective and a guy who's determined. He's facing up Bane, and Bane has broken him in a different way, not in the back. This is the run. Heroes in Crisis and Doomsday Clock are about to end by the end of this month, finally. And I'm not the biggest fan of Heroes in Crisis, especially what they did to Wally West, but we can't be choosers. So Doomsday Clock, issue number 10, so 2 more issues and that's it, but we don't know when that's going to be released. And there's a Watchmen TV series coming up, so hopefully that will end and explain what Dr. Manhattan has been up to and making the New 52 and the DC Rebirth timelines and screwing up basically the DC Universe timeline. We'll see. Over to Marvel. This is also ending. Hunted, the Kraven the Hunter storyline in the Amazing Spider-Man series. And Spidey, as you know, is wearing his black suit again. And if you loved Kraven's Last Hunt, one of the best storylines in Spider-Man history, this is a sequel to that. As well as this year being the 35th anniversary of the black suit, which appeared in Amazing Spider-Man 252. This is the facsimile edition, which was released a few weeks ago by Marvel, reprinting everything down to the ads. Except for the Marvel logo, which is right here. This is a direct copy of the issue as it appeared back in 1984. Time flies. And this suit went down in history as one of the great variants that Peter Parker has worn, even though it was alive. And then it led to Venom, of course. Everybody's favorite symbiote and serial killer at times, but then he also became the Lethal Protector. It all started here with this black suit from the Secret Wars. Another comic I can recommend is Spider-Man Life Story. A tale by Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man writer, Chip Zdarsky, who really knows how to get into Peter Parker's life and head. This is a tale that pretty much beats around Spider-Man not aging. It's Spider-Man starting from the 60s going all the way down to our present. So what if he lived through the decades? What would he do? Peter Parker being Spider-Man, right? This is what it's all about. And it's drawn by Mark Bagley, one of my favorite Spider-Man artists. Ultimate Spider-Man, 90s Spider-Man with the Clone Saga. That's him. Another thing, X-Men will be cancelled on July. They're going to reboot the entire line, which is a pity because I really enjoyed Rosenberg's Uncanny X-Men. But I guess it's only temporary because Jonathan Hickman has a different plan for the X-Men franchise. This is good. Cyclops and Wolverine are back, and they've reassembled the X-Men in the wake of Age of X when the rest disappeared. So this brought me back to my 90s X-Men. In fact, Cyclops wears his 90s era costume, Wolverine wears the brown costume, and they go through all sorts of trouble. So I'd recommend this as a pickup. Other than that, yeah, back to Avengers and Hasbro. They've announced that Captain America, a la Avengers Endgame, will be getting a release in the Marvel Legends scale, holding Mjolnir and having this head sculpt of Chris Evans, which was previously also featured in the 2-pack for Marvel Studios the first 10 years, Captain America Civil War 2-pack with Crossbones. You're going to have another one, this time with the mighty Hammer, Mjolnir, which he held up in Avengers Endgame. Oh man, so much to talk about. Movies to look forward to. I've seen Brightburn, that evil Superman story, which is produced by James Gunn and starring Elizabeth Banks. That's coming out on May 29, care of Columbia Pictures Philippines here in Manila, and all other territories in the Philippines. So I'd recommend that if you wanted to see an evil Superman origin story, a supervillain story, if you will, that's the movie for you. And hopefully they set up a universe with that. It's creepy. Yeah, you have a strange visitor from another planet growing up on the farm, but what if he doesn't end up being a nice kid? That's the story of Brightburn. And finally, yes, Godzilla's coming out at the end of May. Gojira. Finally, we're going to see him fight against King Ghidorah. And Rodan and Mothra are going to be there too. The sequel to the 2014 Godzilla film. We're finally going to get it. Guys, what do I say? The end of Avengers Endgame and the end of Game of Thrones, to sum it up, they were okay. I mean, it's not perfect, but still epic endings. I'm also happy that I got to cosplay as Captain America during Avengers Endgame and celebrate my fandom with the rest of my friends and other fans of Marvel. And now we're going to look forward to Spider-Man Far From Home this July. And yeah, if I have any other news, just subscribe to this channel, TIMZSTER, Timzster. You can also find me in Facebook, facebook.com/TIMZSTER. It's facebook.com/Timzster. Twitter is THE Timzster, the Timzster. And on Instagram is just Timzster. So I'll be seeing you guys. Catch me again here. And stay tuned for more. We're only half the year done. So it's going to be June next week. We have more to look forward to. I'll be seeing you around.